So I did say in an earlier video that yes, I really do need to get myself a track saw, and yes, here it is. I finally got round to doing it. And initially I was going to buy the 240 volt version, and I just changed my mind and thought, no, come on, let's go for the 54 volt cordless version. And as you know already, I'm a big Dewalt fan, and I did a bit of shopping around, got a really good deal where I got all of these bits together for a really good price. And as you can see, we've got the two 1.5 meter guide rails or tracks. I've also got the track or guide rail bag. I've got the clamps and also the guide rail connector. And let's not forget the plunge saw itself, which is a rather lovely bit of kit. And as you can see, it's all packed away really nicely in here. So obviously you've got the saw, we've got two chunky 54 volt batteries and a fast 54 volt battery charger. Let's take a look at the plunge saw itself to begin with. And if we just pull this out, look at that, that looks like a lovely piece of kit to me. There is something about the 54 volt that just looks a little bit more special compared to the 240 volt. And I'm really pleased that I did get this, because I thought, you know, I'm gonna have power wherever I go, but you just never know. And it was only a little bit more expensive if you get a good deal. The batteries themselves, as I've said already, they are quite chunky. They've got this plastic cover that goes over the terminals, which is recommended for transport. And to get these off, you just release it just like you would release the battery from the tool. So I'm definitely going to keep those and use those for transportation. For safety reasons, these batteries don't come fully charged. So what I've done, I have had this one out already and fully charged it. This one I haven't had out yet, and this won't be fully charged, but obviously I'll charge that one up later. We've got the charger itself. You can use this for your 12 volt, your 14.4 volt and your 18 volt batteries. And that's everything you get in the box. Obviously you've got all that stuff there. Do read it. And of course the lovely T-Stack boxes. Now I did recently get a comment from Emmett Turner 9452 saying that in the States that whenever they buy Dewalt tools, they don't get the T-Stack boxes, which I feel is really disappointing. It would really upset me, I think, because these are great. I've got quite a few now. They stack on top of each other. You can really just put them away. They're dust proof, they're splash proof. They have a really good seal around them here, so no water can get in. And I think they just look really cool. I mean, this one's all nice and shiny, but it's not going to be long before that gets messed up. As you can see, it's got the dust extraction pipe, which is going to give you real extraction within the saw area here. And because it's so enclosed, this really is going to take out a lot of the dust. We've got the speed control on the side here, and that can be adjusted between 1 and 7. So there's knobs on the front and the back of the machine, which we can release, and we can tilt the saw. Now this will go between 0 and 47 degrees. You do need to hold this down onto the track or the guide rail, because it will have a tendency to do that. But I'm sure that's not going to be a biggie, because you can just quite safely put your hand here as you run it along. We've got the cut depth on the front here, so we can just undo this and move that up and down to the desired depth of cut. It's also got an anti-kickback feature where we just release this little button here, and that will prevent the saw from moving backwards. We'll have a go with that in a moment. This is the first plunge saw that I've purchased, but not the first one that I've used. And all the others that I've used, they do kind of drop down or plunge down on a single spindle, whereas this one actually comes down. I'll show you from this side, actually comes down almost in a flat position, which is quite unique for this particular saw. So here's your safety button, which prevents the saw from coming down or being started. So we obviously push that, pull the trigger, and then we can plunge down. In order to plunge the saw and lock it for a blade change, we basically push this button, slide this along to here, that's as far as it will go. That will allow us to push the blade down. We then push that further over and that locks into position. But then in order to lock the saw itself, we have to push this button here as we turn the blade, and then it locks it. So it's a little bit fiddly, but I think once you get the hang of it, it will be okay. We just release that to here, the saw comes back up, but this safety feature is no longer in place. We have to push that back up, and then we're back to normal. Yeah, a little bit weird to get your head round to start with, but I'm sure we'll get used to it. What I really want to do and haven't done yet is just start it to see what it sounds like, really. So we'll pop the battery in there like so, and really nice touch where they've done this Dewalt branding on the underside of the battery. So whichever position you've got this machine in, they definitely want you to know it's Dewalt. Okay, so the blade is obviously retracted, and we'll just see how that sounds. Oh yeah, that's really nice. It's got a nice brake on it, so it brakes really quickly, but it's not that loud. I thought it'd be a lot noisier than that. If we compare it to a standard skill saw, and you can use the 18 volt, 54 volt XR Flexvolt battery in this. So it will use this as an 18 volt battery. So that slots in there quite nicely. Just have a listen to this saw. It's quite a lot louder compared to, sounds really smooth. The other thing to bear in mind is you can only use this tool with a 54 volt battery. This is a 54 volt tool, not an 18 volt. So although you can use the 54 volt battery in your 18 volt tools, you can't use your 18 volt tools in your 54 volt tool. Did I say that right? 18 volt battery in your 54 volt tool. It just won't go. Got some really nice grips on it. I like the feel of it. It's not too heavy. It's well balanced. So far, so good. In this particular bundle, I got two 1.5 tracks. Now, just having one 1.5 track is okay if you just want to cut an 8x4 sheet widthways, but what if you want to cut it lengthways? So definitely going for two for me was a bonus. So that way you've got 3 meters, you've got plenty over to cut long sheets, probably even a 10x5 sheet, which is really good. Now what Dewalt have done with their guide rails is made it double-sided. All other track saws, you can only use one edge for cutting. So for example, if we pop that onto there, this is going to cut on this side of the track. But what we can do is turn that over, and we can also use it to cut this edge. Before you use the tool, then don't forget to adjust the saw on the track with these knobs, one at the front here, one at the back, and that just prevents any wobble, but also keeps the saw moving nice and smoothly. If we release the anti-kickback switch, which is just around here, you'll see that we can push it forward, but it won't come back, which is a really good safety feature, because although you do have riving knives on these tools, unlike a standard skill saw, so you have got this riving knife here, and it is retractable as well, so you can plunge down and then the riving knife will go into the slot there, and it will keep the boards pushed apart so the saw blade doesn't get jammed. The rubbers on the underside of the saw feel really nice. It's going to be important to keep those relatively clean, because I imagine they'll get quite dusty and then become less grippy. But if you want to clamp it down for extra support and peace of mind, you can use the clamps. Look at that, they work perfect. Right then, time to cut a piece of board. and we'll have a go with this 19 mil oak veneered MDF. So there's quite a lot of friction between the worktop and the board, but even more on the rail. So we'll go 22 millimeters deep here. And what I might just do is put that over the edge there, just to see how that goes just over. There we go, that's perfect. This saw also has Bluetooth connectivity, so you can connect it to your vacuum, and then once you start the machine, your vacuum will start. I haven't got that, so I'm going to turn it on manually. So that did produce a bit of dust, but other than that, that's a really nice finish. Now that's not bad at all for the upper edge of that oak veneered board. If we look on that underside, that's a lot cleaner. This saw will plunge down to about 55 millimeters, so this is going to be absolutely perfect for if you're cutting worktops or that kind of thing. In fact, also if you're cutting down doors. For that, I'm not taking any. I've gone a little bit less on there. Maybe I will bring it out again. So there you have it. It's the Dewalt 54 volt brushless plunge saw. I'm well happy with it. I can't wait to get started with it and use this as opposed to the skill saw and using a lump of timber as a fence to run it along. It's been good, but this is the way forward. If you're in the UK, I'll leave a link to the company that I bought this from. If you're not in the UK, I'm sure you can get it somewhere else. Fantastic guys, thanks for watching. Hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you next time.